away, did not want to go for the chance. And so the Baron, second one of the game, goes over to SKT.
By the time they had enough confirmation, it was too far down. Smartly executed by SKT, and just a realization that with how corralled they had Jin Air in their own base, there was never going to be any vision in that pick. And it didn't matter, so they take him down. Looking at the damage numbers, been a bit more feeling like a 15,000 damage game by the Zoe, so she tops the charts in this game. Ornn somehow has just done 10,000 damage to Sion and really no one else in this particular game. See what the shot did bring Teddy. He got, okay, Infinity Edge and QSS, a lot of power was just loaded in. My read on Jin Air is when you don't see the Smite steal, their thought instead is we need to recreate the attempt to pick on Bang and get Bang's flash down, then maybe we can just wave clear in the face of the Varus. So I could see even more aggression to try to force Bang onto the back foot. He has QSS and Summoners himself. But Teddy's getting items, and that's the only good news here for the side of Jin Air.
That's a very big cannon minion. It's been fully buffed up by Banner Command and the Baron. The Bannon, if you will. It does get taken out.
Banner turned to mid lane after they saw multiple people wave clearing and bot. Blossom goes for a bit of a party leap.
Wants to grab that magic shield. And that's Teddy in the back line, but MT smartly standing in the front. Gonna delay a nice bit of time actually for Bang to just move forward with the Baron and get that there.
Slow and steady for the side of SKT. Still a minute 40, so 3 minion waves or so on this Baron buff. They're gonna target down at least one turret. Looks like Blossom gonna look for a charge into mid. A 6 shot's not taken. Okay, they do not commit for it just yet.
Slow and steady, as you mentioned. They don't want to take any chances. The engage out of range is totally going to miss. They take him out immediately. That's going to be a double stun in the backline with the solar flare. And a kidnapped So1 now. Looking for their second kill. Baker looking for more onto Teddy here. Can't quite get it just yet. Is going to Zonia's up here looking for some help. But Teddy does get the kill. Here comes Jintara. Decides to cut it short as... They felt like they were taking it slow, but then after the one kill, they're like, okay, let's just go for it. And it might just be enough as they take out the inhibitor.
If Baker got too frisky there, did not need to go for that pick. Thought if they killed Teddy, it would end the game. Instead, the game doesn't end. The inhibitor will go down, but just a single inhibitor going down for second Baron buff isn't a disaster for the side of Jin Air. They want to delay a second turret. That will be the rich reward SKT's looking for, but they're not willing to commit.
So they stay alive. Only one lane has been broken so far. You guys will notice we do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're going to get the replay of this particular passage.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
We're Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini-map there for our red side team.
Gonna get the replay of this particular passage block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side,
this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
We do have the inhibitor timings on the right side, just above the mini map there for red side.
Look at the replay of this particular passive block.
Available for Hacker. He can probably do a full clear now from Raptors to blue buff, get himself level 6, and maybe even look towards a gank in the bottom side.
This bottom lane's just been a farm fest between the two teams. Fury and Yoon did flash aggressively after Houtier early on, but they didn't get anything for it.
Still a CS advantage for the Cog War, CS advantage for the top lane as well. Everything's still going perfectly fine for Snake. They've only had that one, I would almost say signature hiccup, honestly, at this stage for Snake.
Which is different. They don't have a massive gold lead early on. No one saw that. It's okay.
Sometimes it's better to just press your Q at them and jump forwards and maybe force the package. If the ult connected, then there's a chance. But that's a very fast Corki. It's not exactly easy to hit. The package will now be used to clear away.
Even if he got that ultimate down, I'm not quite sure how Hacker would have been able to kill him there.
It was about forcing the package, though.
Tried his best. Package still using that mid lane, though, just to clear out the minion wave. Knight uses the time to move over to a blue buff. Gets a blue buff for himself.
They're just going to continue to clear the mid lane. Blue buffs on mid laners, especially when it's a Corki and an Orianna. Very limited pressure. The only person you ever really look at mid lane in the LPL would say, he's got blue buff, he's going to kill you, is Rookie, especially on that Orianna. This plays at a different tempo to everybody else and tries very hard to kill people.
Rookie doesn't play as a control mage. That's an assassin in his eyes. The gold is dead even between the two teams, but 800 lead on the top side of the map for Flandre. 500 going over towards Hacker in the jungle. Fairly close in the mid lane, about 300 going in Orianna's favor. And a very small lead for Crystal in the bottom lane.
Don't worry, that's just the bottom lane of Sinning Gaming teleporting into their respective lanes. He might stop a recall and call it a day. So that's a pretty nice little movement there from you. Nothing really massive going to come from it. They buy some time. They might be able to push the turret down a little bit.
Stops both recalls. Crystal doesn't have teleport for himself, so he can't go back to base and expect to get back in here.
I mean, they choose to stay as well. Crystal can choose to stay, and the Braum can just teleport. Okay, not a big deal, right? Again, what they will get is damage onto the turret. And for me, the other place that we have to look at, you know, we mentioned the Kleptomancy on the Shen. He's got a CS advantage for himself. We pointed that out as well. But traditionally, if you see someone have Kleptomancy, you're looking at like a Gangplank, someone that loses lane, that goes down 20 odd CS. If you're winning CS and you have a Kleptomancy, you are so far ahead in gold, it's unreasonable at times. There's real presence there. We saw it from the Shy yesterday on Fiora.
Yep.
4,000 gold ahead when his team was going pretty much even.
He is building for that split push though, which is good because Sinning rely on their 1-3-1 or their 1-4 to get these early game and mid game leads. And if you can shut down Xiao and make sure that he can't split push effectively, force those fights could be a benefit for Snake.
Yeah, more often than not, you will see the Shens go towards the Titanic Hydra first. Now, you can commit to another item if you would like, but getting that Titanic Hydra is very strong against most Cho'Gaths who want to rush the Abyssal Mask, or they want to rush some kind of hybrid health tanky item. They could have changed it up here, Xiao, if he wanted and gone towards an armor build, but chooses not to. And at the same time, Shen's very good at Banner of Command killing, especially when he rushes the Titanic Hydra. So maybe Thunder's just preparing himself for future patches.
Can always pick one up for himself as well later on the match if he needs to match Banner for Banner. But a very quiet game between Snake and Sinning this early into the match. We were what, 10,000 gold up, 12 minutes last match?
Yeah, we've seen some very different games in this entire best of three. We've seen snowballs, we've seen stalls, and now we're just seeing a generic laning phase that has been protracted for an extra few minutes. But in a couple of minutes from now, when these teams get their first items, I feel like that is a good opportunity for them to start to break away from the strict laning.
Hoodie has changed his skin as well, so he's got a couple of presents ready for Sinning apparently. Let's see what he has up his sleeve as well. Teleport's coming back into the bottom lane.
Well, they're synergizing in skins, Fish.
That's the Christmas bottom lane.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't just switch skins, you know. You've got to have a reason.
This entire series has been a little bit of Secret Santa. You never know exactly what you're going to get.
That's also Poro Rider Sedge. Do we call that a winter skin? Because then they're just trying to be as wintry as possible.
I mean, yeah, but that's the wrong team, Rusty. He's on Sinning.
But it's in the game, Fish.
They wouldn't have known unless, you know, they were communicating during Champions League. That's,
maybe
you know,
they
competitive
were.
integrity.
There's a chat. I'm just saying.
That's true. But
is there real competitive integrity on skin choice?
Yes! Collusion.
All right.
Can't do that.
You're out of control.
It's not nice.
You're a mess.
Sinning's going to see if they can continue putting pressure on the top side of the map, though. Flandre backs away.
There's a ward. Single ward is going to be able to spot them, so nothing they can do. However, pressure onto the top lane turret is going to be very nice to have, and at that point, oh, actually committing in.
They've caught out Knight. No flash there for him. That's a dead Orianna, and Guok gets the kill as well.
And they make an appropriate counterplay, and I'm just so happy to see this happen from Snake right now. Camille finds the target, use the ultimate, and Shen goes in with him. Flandre does not overextend himself in the top lane and die. He doesn't make a mistake. Instead, he groups up with his team, and they're able to secure that kill, which unlocks them a bit of control in the map, and if nothing else, it just got them Xiaoyao's teleport, which is very valuable.
It certainly is. On top of that, even though first turret falls for Suning, gold is dead even. So Snake have a turret in their back pockets to take, and bottom lane outer is already very low.
I feel like I just saw Yoon teleport to bottom lane as well, but here he goes again.
It's the League of Unsealed Spellbook. Some of the spells can be used all the time.
And this time around, he's against the Kog'Maw that does a whole host of damage against him compared to what it was the last time with completed item spikes.
It's Kog'Maw and Braum that are pushing in against the Caitlyn Tahm Kench.
Yeah, Caitlyn's actually even got static shift, so wants to have wave clear, wave control. And you would say, again, a lot of a 2v2 comes down to if you have kill threat. I think Kog'Maw is honestly, in competitive games, with a good support, very strong to the point where even Caitlyn lanes can't always keep up with them. It comes down to the trading that a Kog'Maw can do, especially in a 1v1 sense. If AD carries are hitting each other, then you'd generally say the Kog'Maw actually tends to win those. Caitlyn can hit headshots here and there, usually wins lanes though by pushing the wave, forcing you to choose between her auto attacks and a minion, or not getting hit by her, but not getting the minion. That's usually Caitlyn's mantra. Kog'Maw here can kind of do both because he's got a Braum.
Varus does well into Kog'Maw, which they did not for here. Caitlyn does well into Varus, just Kog'Maw does well into Caitlyn. Rock, paper, scissors in this bottom lane at the moment. Also relies on their support. Tahm Kench is a more defensive-based support. Houdier can be a little bit more aggressive, throw up the shield to make sure they push in as well.
To be fair, I think Varus wins all of them anyway because he's Varus. It's just that he gets outscaled in the later game from range. So it's very easy to lock down, very easy to kill when you get to those team fights.
Hello!
Fury's dead.
Where did he go?
Only his gun remains. The bottom lane outer turret's just going to drop.
Easy turret pickup by Snake. They equalize the turret deficit and take the gold lead for themselves. 1,500 gold up.
Yeah, they're set. Snake are just winning through laning phase. One of the strengths of Suning Gaming, one of the most bloodthirsty, aggressive, fast-paced early game teams. They don't have it right now. They're not looking towards that just yet. They're wanting to hold on. They've drafted a very good team fighting composition when they get to 3 items. Super strong. But it's not like Snake don't. They've got the Corki and the Kog'Maw.
They've just got ways to shut down the way Suning want to play as well. We already said Shen on the top side map means Xiaoyao can't split push effectively. SOFM's on an aggressive jungler right now, so they can go for those picks instead when they're split up. What are you doing there, Fury?
I believe he uses the stopwatch here in an attempt to get rid of the Braum passive, but he was going to be stunned because of the duration of the Braum passive regardless, and he had the flash, so ultimately I think that's just a bit of a mistake from Fury. He tries to save the summoner spell, but instead loses a turret and his life for it. Not too sure on the timing of the Braum passive, it seems.
So Snake, small lead for themselves. Suning going to try and park their AD carry and support in the mid lane, where mid lane outer turret for Suning is very low after the push that came up from SOFM and Guokwa on the pick against Knight. They may have found Yoon here though.
They have found him.
Do have a flash. They get away for now.
They're able to push Yoon away, but that's also pushing away Vision Fish. He gets 1 ward down. Means that the blue side jungle of Snake is mostly protected. SOFM, of course, knowing it doesn't have wards, is going to the other side of the map to control Vision a little bit more. They're threatening mid. They're utilizing Guoguo as a place they can pivot from or pivot to as they please. But mid lane outer turret is the one that they need the most against that Orianna. If she doesn't have blue, then opportunities present themselves.
Suning to rotate Caitlyn down to the bottom lane this time. Clearing out the wave that Guokwa was able to push in. Xiaoyao having a difficult time against Flandre on the top side of the map.
It's also pretty much impossible to kill. Not just because it's a Shen into a Cho'Gath, but because he's completed his support item. You know, he's completely upgraded the relic shield.
He's got wards.
Yeah.
That's silly.
He's got 4 wards, not just wards, and now he's going towards what seems to be a banner of command as well to continue to pressure that Cho'Gath out.
Oh, give Xiaoyao a break. He just was up against Flandre. Now Guokwa's up there to continue hammering down the pressure.
Xiaoyao had a break in game 2, man. The pressure's just going to continue up here because it's working, and because there's a turret they need to break up there, most importantly. Doing all the correct steps here, Snake.
constant pressure, stopping him from recalling. He doesn't have the teleport. They can chunk him out. They can send Shen to any side lane they'd like. And I like, in particular, that Snake are diversifying their lane assignments. They are actually changing things up and giving it a different go.
Now they're the ones trying to tear apart Suning Gaming, and Snake were the kings of split push. Back when we had frequent lane swaps, Snake were doing it every single match. And every match they got a successful lane swap level 1 was a match they won during that split of the LPL where it was changed.
Yep.
So they know how to play against us. It's a different style now after the changes, but they know exactly what they need to do. Seems like they're executing it well in game 3. Now, Suning from this position so far in this split have not been able to find comebacks, have not been able to find those plays. So it's going to be a big test to them to see if they can do it against Snake. Not only have we mentioned time and time again that they need to find wins against teams that are above them in standings if they want to promote up into the top 4 and stay top 4 for playoffs. But this is a good test to see if their playstyle works when they're behind as well.
It's also just about, you know, can Suning Gaming do what Snake did? You know, they can scale. Their team fighting is decent. They've got a pretty good 5v5 here. I still would say that Snake's having the Cogmore is going to be very strong, and they're almost equal. So if you look towards the late game team fights, you look towards the late game 5v5s, and Snake just get there sooner, maybe that's going to be something that upsets the balance here for Suning Gaming. So far, I'm well and truly on the Snake camp in this game. Whilst the gold lead hasn't reflected anything major, you're looking towards some kind of behind-the-curve team fighting from Suning Gaming, getting one of those big moments to bring themselves into an advantageous position. But currently, Rift Herald should be a turret. Top lane pressure should also be a turret sooner or later when it falls. SOFM can just pick and choose between which one happens first.
That team fight's not going to be anytime soon for Suning as well, because 2 items already picked up for Crystal. The main items he would lean in on a Cogmore to bridge those item power spikes. Fury has been farming this entire time. He's gone back to base, still doesn't have enough gold to complete his Affinity Edge. It's so close. Top lane turret's going to fall during this time. Gorkor still has package available as well.
Yeah, good stuff here from SOFM, just threatening the top side. He knows that Fury and Yoon have been upside on the top lane. Means they're not going to be able to rotate to mid, but mid's still just so hard to crack. They choose to commit to top. They'll take the free gold, they'll take the free control of the lane, and then they'll threaten mid lane.
They're trying to jump into that mid lane. SFM goes in first. Shockwave just kills him. Where did he go?
No one knows why SOFM did that. Let alone, you know what? I've no idea. He's a magician fish. First question is why is he there? Second question is why is he initiating? And then I'm out of questions. Because he's just already dead.
If you're a magician, making yourself disappear should be your last act, not your first 2. Because that's 2 times now SOFM has just run head first into the opposite jungle and still able to take him down nice and easy.
Knight will pick himself up a kill in doubles as well, as if pushing mid lane was not hard enough to do already. For the side
so
of
low.
Snake.
They could have played it cautious.
He does it. You know, SOFM's just, he's got these moments. He is such a good jungler, but not all the time.
Sometimes Tinikun would be proud of the jungler that he's brought up and now in the LPL, but the other times I believe he's just face palming and wondering what the heck's going on.
Thing is, like, I get it. You know, I understand he wants to get the mid lane out of turret. He wants to threaten the dive more than just go for it. And he has the ultimate to outplay Shockwave if need be, right? But he just dies. He's super fragile. He's building a Trinity Force, as Camille's a want to do. He's not someone that should realistically be going in first like that unless he knows he's going to get out alive, knows he's going to get out safely. And I don't even really think that Yoon using the ultimate to get there means too much in the end. Even if it was just 2 of them there, that was probably a mistake.
Criticism of SOFM aside, this is a good punishment that comes out from Suning and gives them the breathing room they need to try and reset and find their footing in this match. Caitlyn now has that Infinity Edge.
Yep, they're definitely getting towards those item spikes, Fish. They are going to be even stronger than they were before. And as the fighting goes in a 5v5 sense, when we compare the items, they are very much aligned with their opponents now. Especially with the experience marks. As long as you've got 11 and 16 for Orianna, the damage is huge.
Snake, however, are the ones that are in control of the elemental dragons in this match. Again, we get Cloud and Ocean. But much more even game. All the outer turrets have been broken on Suning's side of the map, except for mid lane, which is very low. A couple of pushes from Snake should take that down.
And I would say there's an argument to have at least used the Herald in the mid lane to break that outer turret, make things very easy for yourself, compared to just using it in the top lane with the Corki with the package. was mostly controlling that anyway. So for what it's worth, I think Snake have in part done this to themselves, not just SOFM by diving the mid lane, but by not summoning the Rift Herald for the mid lane and then threatening the dive instead. And Fury and Yoon were not at item spikes at that stage, and of course this is all retrospective, but the what ifs are very much there for this game so far.
So Snake's next objective should be trying to break that mid lane turret. SFM's tried, didn't work. Suning still have bottom lane to deal with, still have mid lane to deal with themselves, and Baron, now that it's online, will be a point of the map that these two teams can start looking towards.
And speaking of Baron being a point of contention, you actually have to look towards the top laners first. Now, a Shen and a Cho'Gath with a Banner of Command finished is a place that you'll always be looking towards.
Oh, no.
Cho'Gath has a very difficult time dealing with that, and so if a cannon arrives, Shen is able to start a push and then use it on a minion, then the Baron can actually be considered by Snake, just because it takes way too long for Shoel to go down there and to work with that, and if he does, then the Baron's free, and if he teleports, then the minion actually pushes very successfully.
Mid lane out of turret, still low. Snake still trying to take this down. One thing that kind of pushed Orianna out of the mid lane meta for a brief period of time was when Rift Herald was first introduced, and that could break the mid lane turret, as you mentioned. Difficult for Orianna to use Shockwave or to clear out the minion wave when that's charging down. Now that it's already been used top lane, easy task for Suning to constantly make sure that this mid lane turret stays healthy.
And it's a very big Orianna at that. Finished the Luden's Echo on her last shot.
Ooh.
2.5 items, but has the flat magic penetration available. And then you look at the other side of Snake and say, where is the magic resistance? Well, Camille doesn't build it. She's still building a Trinity Force. AD carry is pretty much the only place that has it currently. Everyone else will take full damage from that Shockwave. And she has the blue.
Finally, Snake will try and make their way towards getting more damage on this. Again, it's just all focused around this turret. We talk about it all the time. Yes, Knight has blue buff, has those items available, but Snake are just slowly chipping away at it.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to fall, unless Suning make a clever play. You can see Gorgor being a little bit cheeky with the rapid fire cannon, trying to get a bit more damage on that turret.
It's focused, but it's not full focus. This is the first time in the game where we've seen everyone slowly group up around it. SOFM's threatening near the Raptors. Once again, looking towards a dive, or at least to scare them away from the turret. If they step back, then they step up.
They step forward, try to get as much damage into this as possible. One more time would be enough, and that's... We can talk about the rest of the map. Yeah, Shen's pushing against Cho'Gath. Top lane is being controlled by Snake. But really, this is a big pivot point for Snake at the moment. If they can get that turret,
it's necessary.
It unlocks Baron for them.
Absolutely. I mean, just unlocking the map is something that Snake need desperately. If they get that turret, unlocking Baron, and what you mean by that is that they can place deeper vision into the red side jungle of Sinning Gaming. Currently, they're controlling the river, and they do have control of the river. You can see some of the wards placed, especially the one in the Baron pit. It's theirs, but they can't step up to the red buff. They can't go to any brushes near that area, because they'll be face-checking an Orianna and a Sejuani and perhaps even Caitlyn traps. And all of those things are far too dangerous when the game is even to walk into. They will one-hit you.
Sinning have done a good job. They've been able to bridge Caitlyn's mid-game into the late game now. She's about 600-ish gold away from completing that second Zeal item and building into a rapid-fire cannon.
That'd be a
online.
pretty good skinfish.
What's that?
8-ball Caitlyn.
8-ball Caitlyn?
Yeah, it's just a giant 8-ball. She can be called 8lin. I'm just trying to back you up here.
Look, besides the pun of the name, don't quite see how that concept's going to work.
I mean, her headshot could be RNG. You know, you shake your head around and say, try again next time she doesn't get a headshot. Just give it a suggestion.
It's not how skins work.
It is now.
No. You are not the design team. But finally, Snake will break this. Come
Yeah,
on, Crystal,
right.
get it. There you go.
We did it.
So they're going to unlock the map a little bit more, increase their gold lead slightly. Suning have been able to hold on and do exactly what Snake did to them in game number 1.
You know, we're looking at Crystal on the screen. You can notice that he also has a Blade of the Ruined King opposed to the Hurricane, which is to hit multiple people. Blade is for the individual target damage, but he's also gone for Overheal in Precision Tree as his secondary. The fact that he's got that extra shielding and Blade of the Ruined King as his third item, to have the Life Seal to actually have that extra healing, kind of a necessity from him, something that he's put himself towards doing, knowing that he wants to do damage to individual targets. Cho'Gath Sejuani, all health stackers.
Will be a nice,
very good against them.
Will be a nice pickup when an item like Locket is complete for the rest of the team, giving that bit of overshield as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've barely seen any interaction on this map so far. This is not very LPL.
SOFM's died a couple of times for Snake. That's it. Suning got two good picks.
There's another Cloud Drake up as well in less than 20 seconds.
Probably going to be Snake trying to control that because they've got Shen with the advantage at the bottom lane.
Yeah, you'd imagine it's free. SOFM looks like he's just going to be soloing that one out. Flandre might come over and give it a tap or two. Easy as you'd like though, no contest from Suning Gaming. It's actually an opportunity for Suning to go towards the Baron and place some deeper vision if they assume it is being done. But they're too afraid to step up. In fact, it's just a free recall time.
And it kind of feels like game one again, but very different perimeters in this match. You've got a Shen for Snake this time round. They're the ones with the lead. So even though they're going to be the ones that are going to try and split the map up against Suning, they have that champion that can get into a team fight easy, impact the team fight straight away besides waiting for a teleport time to complete. Whereas Suning, they can look for a fight, but Yoon's the one that gets caught out here. Takes so much damage. Crystal used the stopwatch. That actually might just kill him. Flashes away.
That stopwatch was very risky. Teleport also used and cancelled by Xiaowao from the bottom lane. Shen now has two different forms of teleportation to get to the area if he sees fit. And suddenly Snake, from a game that was very slow, very stagnant, nothing really happening, they do find a big opportunity to use the bottom side of the map as a pivot point.
Yoon actually teleporting back in. They're so scared that there is this Baron being started by Snake that they force the teleport out of Yoon, force him to get back into that pit as soon as he can and put the wards down. Even Xiaowao refusing to go into the bottom lane because he doesn't have teleport available.
If he goes down there, suddenly Flandre just teleports in. Even if he doesn't use the teleport, he could use the ultimate just to come into lane if need be. Walk back bottom and still have the teleport threat. There's just too many options here, too many problems for Suning Gaming to deal with. Their next response, their next movements potentially decide the game.
Now Flandre just takes that turret, easy. And he moves straight towards the inhibitor turrets instead. Suning are looking to see if they can get the wraparound against Flandre. Blue buff being picked up by Knight.
And the Baron should just be started by SOFM and the rest of Snake. It's already at half health.
Sand United coming in already. So this is a full 5-on-5 if they can get there in time. There goes Hacker. Doesn't win the smite battle. SOFM comes out clutch again. Secures it for his team. But Xiaowao's trying to go in as quick as he can. Does not get the rupture. Hacker's getting chunked down. SOFM gets that kill. The Cogmore's just way too strong. He rips through the front lines at the moment. Knight wants to find a good shockwave. But Crystal and Gorkwa are splitting up. Playing this one safe. Great taunt comes out. Houdia tries to back him up. Flandre flashing out with a sliver of help as well. Snake get the Baron. They win a team fight as well.
Knight holds the shockwave and both summoner spells that entire time. So Snake, they back away at the correct moment. They do not overexert themselves. They do not overextend. And they get the Baron. They get a kill on the jungler. And everyone gets out clean. Not exactly in a situation that you would have expected. Snake, yes, starting the Baron at the right time was okay there. But at the same time, they made it a smite battle. It wasn't necessarily a 50-50, but a Sejuani was in the pit. Now, it was not as close as you would want it to be if you were Snake.
But they did what Suning didn't do in the last match, which is actually take the Baron and force this fight.
Yeah, so they'll get the Baron. They'll make sure that Hacker, of course, he won't have a passive, he won't have a stopwatch. When he tries to dash back forwards and contribute, he's just caught down now from the Camille, from all of the damage that they'll be able to put through from Crystal. At that moment, it was just back away and zone as much as you can.
Now, Snake, they've been able to take the point which was difficult for Suning in game number 1, which was pick up the Baron and start to use that first Baron buff to increase the golding. Now 8,000 gold up over Suning. They've got outer turrets in the top lane and mid lane to work with. They already have Crystal and Houdia trying to take that one down by themselves. But Gorkwa's got the package with the Trinity Force as well as all the 80 damage he has at the moment. That turret should fall nice and easy.
Not as easy as you would like, but it will fall down very soon regardless, Fisher. You're correct. They're going to push mid, they're going to push bottom. And it's a 1-2-2 setup with SOFM as the immediate quick pivot point. Speaking of pivots,
they're going for a fight top side of map. Suning trying to collapse onto Crystal and Houdia. Houdia jumping forward, pops the stopwatch. There's a good shockwave, but it's only onto the tanks of Snake. However, they're trying to see if they can lock down Flandre. A little bit too slippery. Shadow dashes away. Meanwhile, Gorkwa and SOFM chipping away at mid lane inhibitor turret.
And threatening another structure. They have so much damage, it's just going to go down almost. And now they are battle station Suning Gaming. Don't let it happen for free.
However, Snake just rotated to the bottom lane. They're just all over the map.
Teleported.
There's too many snakes on this damn rift, and they're trying to go for the inhibitor in the bottom lane. That gets taken down. Crystal will pick it up. Suning can't find a team fight that they want. They're just so slippery.
That was very clever from Snake. The teleport usage gets them an inhib. Pushing forward.
Oh, they've locked down Fury. SLFF dives to the backlines. Cogwell's trying to get the snipe. Good save coming out from Yoon. But do they have enough damage to turn around the fight? Gorkwall is already working on this inhibitor. Neither of these two teams want to try and break out into a full-blown 5-on-5, but Snake destroyed the base of Suning Gaming.
And if there is no 5v5, Snake are going to win. The teleports that they had were honestly just genius right there. Everyone going towards the top side of the map, diffusing Snake's push, trying to get a pick, but because nobody dies, because Suning Gaming back away and to try and respond to the mid lane, everyone from Snake recalls and teleports bottom, and it was just a giant game of Ring Around the Rosie. Snake always a step ahead.
They didn't change anything up from game 1 to game 2. Suning won that early game both times. Game 2 a little bit more decisive. Snake had to fight through game 1, 68 minutes of a match. Game 3, the coach makes the change, and suddenly everything is piecing together nicely for Snake.
The interesting thing here as well, in game 1 when there was a sick base hold and comeback from Snake, they had the outscaling composition, but they've still got the Cogmore in this third game. So even though Suning Gaming are trying to turtle, they're trying to hold on and defend their base, they don't necessarily strictly outscale here by any means. For what that's worth, Snake, they've got the lead, they've accelerated the lead, it's over 10,000. You'd almost say it's insurmountable for Suning Gaming unless they engage right away and the shockwave hits the mark.
They only have one inhibitor turret left to defend though for Suning. That's on the top side of the map. Snake still has Shen pushing in the bottom lane. Still has that banner of command available when he needs to keep pushing in against Xiao Ao. Good traps are being placed down by Fury, but it's only going to deny Snake for so long. They could wait for the next Baron buff, or they could just beeline towards Elder Dragon.
I actually really like those trap assignments. Take note if you notice what they were as well. When you've got an Orianna on your team, you route them into one funnel. You don't just block the entire entrance. You know, the shockwave is there. You can threaten the entire area instead. The whole lane was covered. Snake, they now move over towards the Elder Dragon. Suning Gaming are responding. I don't know if they'll get there in time, though.
Could this be the Hail Mary play for Suning? Nope. I think they decided to back off, seeing that Elder Dragon had already been taken down so quickly by Snake. 3 Elemental Dragons is no joke to go up against. It might be enough for them to bridge the time between Elder Dragon and Baron buff coming up. Remember, only one inhibitor turret to work with for the side of Snake. And it's the last structure standing between them and moving towards the final Nexus turrets.
Bit of redemption here for Snake. Is so close they can taste it after their last set defeat. Want to prove that they're a top team. Suning Gaming still trying to prove that they can keep up with the best. They have definitely struggled in this third game. They could have 2-0'd. They could have won the entire set. Now that has been completely tossed to the wayside by Snake's resilience. Snake's ability to come back and actually macro plays in this third game. Something that saw Knight play it. We saw it be very successful for the side of Suning. A little bit different, the strategy, the style of play, it's all shifted.
And Snake need this, especially in front of their home crowd in Chongqing. After their fight against Invictus Gaming, very similar playstyle to what Suning like to run.
That's a Trinity Force shed, I'm sorry, I just got very...
Oh goodness.
They have a Trinity of Forces.
He's got 3, there's 3 of them in the team. But after their loss to Invictus Gaming, Snake need this win here, and after that comeback, after the game 2 defeat, this is something they'll be relying on to move forward throughout the rest of cross-conference, push themselves to 7-2, keep themselves at the top of the table, make sure they stay ahead of EDG, who suffered the same loss against Invictus Gaming.
Absolutely, keep yourself on top of the tables, it helps so much with playoffs. They're almost halfway through the split too, so the playoffs runs start very shortly. You want to at least start at the top before that has to happen at all. Still, the final part needs to be done here by Snake. They've got the Elder Dragon, and you would expect they'd be able to push in. With all the Trinity Forces running around, the threat of a split push is very severe. But because there's not a lot of base left for Suning Gaming to defend, it's very quick and easy to rotate between it, and they're holding on fine.
Baron buff's coming up as well, and Snake immediately just back off towards that objective. Suning could put up a final fight there. It might be the best chance they get at this. Flandre is not flinching. He's still pushing the bottom lane.
Yep. I don't think he'll ever stop either. If he's got a banner of command down, particularly when he gets the Baron, the game would end. He's ulting out right now, but he's cancelled.
Cancelled, but that's still so many members of Suning in the bottom lane trying to stop Flandre. There's 4, 5 members. They just want to kill him. They're angry.
You best believe he's dead, Fish. That's a paddling onto the Shen, but it's also a Baron buff secured from Snake, and the teleport is available for him when he respawns in 50 seconds. It does buy time you would have to expect for Sunin, but not enough.
Buys time. Inhibitor 1's coming up. Inhibitor 2 should come back up shortly, but Fury, don't step too close to Corki. He does too much damage for you to handle. Gorka almost single-handedly pushes him out. Still has the Baron buffed cannon minion. Making sure he still gets that extra damage onto these turrets. Making sure he can still build up more waves. Second inhibitor is going to respawn. But Flandre is just 25 seconds away from coming back up. That's all that Snake needs to buy time for.
I mean, the time they have bought is very meaningful though, Fish, with the inhibs being back alive. Flandre's still going to be out very soon, however, and now the threat really begins. The minion waves start to crash. They've corralled them in with the Baron buff, empowering them. And it's so hard for Suning Gaming to deal with this once the Shen's able to contribute. That's a build and a half, by the way, from Flandre.
Z0 portal being picked up as well. Flandre in the top lane. Sold his banner of command. Doesn't need it anymore.
There was that time when the meta was, if they build a ZZ Rot, you have to build a ZZ Rot. And the same thing went with banner, and that was all the top lane became.
It's an offensive ZZ Rot as well being placed down in the mid lane. Bottom lane inhibitor very low. Trinity Force as well as Crystal's massive range working on that mid lane inhibitor turret. SFM takes down the bottom. Mid lane falls, now it's only top lane remaining. But guess who's there? It's Flandre. Looking to work and get some damage on this. Gork was up there as well. Fury trying to step forward, but the dodge field gets placed down by Flandre. Negates all the damage. Sunny needs to put up a last stand, but they haven't decided where they're going to pick their fight. At this rate, it's going to be right at their nexus, and it could be too little too late.
They don't really know where to do it, let alone how they're going to execute on that as well. They have no choice from now, you're right, Fish. It's just the nexus standing, but they've been routed, they've been moved around, they've been pushed and bullied, and they don't have an opportunity to look for that raw 5v5 until right now. Now's the last chance.
Snake can play this one nice and passive. Wait for the super minions to start collapsing. Wait for the Baron buff to slowly chip away at the turret. Guokwa even using the rapid fire cannons to do just that. Suning go back to base again, pick up a couple items, heal back up. Ultimate used by Hacker. Triple knocker comes out from Xiao Ao, but it's not enough. Just forcing them back away from the turret for a little bit more time. That turret is going to fall. Crystal is getting good damage. So is Guokwa. Only the Nexus left up. Suning, you need to do something, or the snakes are just going to eat you alive. The lions aren't in their den anymore. This is the snake pit, and Snake want to close this one out. Knight gets jumped on, used the stopwatch, but Guokwa gets the kill. Crystal trying to kite back on the side, but it doesn't matter because Fury's forced to fight on top of his fountain, and with that, Snake will pick up the 2-1.
Come back in that game with any kind of miracles. They were pushed and pulled, and they were smashed by Snake in the end.
Very different game 3 from 2 as well. Such a one-sided affair from Suning in game 2 where they snowballed a lead. And all it took was for Snake to change up their draft slightly, unlock SOFM, who still, mind you, was a battering ram into the jungle of Suning and gifted them 2 early kills, allowed them to stay in the match. But they executed what Suning could not in game number 1, which was stall the game out, wait patiently, find the opportunity to come back in, and in game 3, when the same opportunity presented itself to Suning, Snake were decisive. They took Baron and just pushed for the victory.
And a lot of this set did come down to the Baron, to who could secure it, who could stop the other team from taking it. We got to see a lot of the strengths that Snake have got through this set. But unfortunately for Snake, we also got to see a lot of the weaknesses that they have ever present as well, things that just don't seem to go away. Snake look their best when they hide those weaknesses brilliantly. You know, SOFM's tendency is to be overly aggressive. If they can hide that by having a hyper-controlling mid laner, then it looks better. Things like that. The Shen as an example actually is another big one. I think picking Shen with SOFM in a team is just genius for Snake and for SOFM, because guess what? He can do whatever he wants. Shen keeps him alive.
He can, after Flandre is able to hit level 6, and with that, Snake pick up the 2-1 victory. To break down the series a little bit further, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
And that is the series win to Snake. Once again, the Snake pit proves to be not enough for any of the new teams. Though the Lions put up a valiant effort, still Snake taking the series 2-1. And Rise, you and I, we were just talking about why Suning lost this game. Because it was like game 1, Suning controlled the early game, controlled the mid game. Game 2, Suning controlled the early game, controlled the mid game. And now for something completely different. Game 3.
I didn't have much faith in the sense because we were already questioning the champion pool of Flandre going into the top lane and that he was kind of lagging behind. Immediately goes towards the Shen pick, and Shen is one of those champions that do incredibly well into the Sion, so immediately going into the pick ban, Sion was still unavailable for picking. It was a blind pick Shen, and so honestly, Suning Gaming recognized that and said, well, what do we go up against the Shen, because we're going to have a bad matchup if we go into the Sion pick, and ultimately they went to Cho'Gath, which is still poor trading patterns in favor of Shen, but at least he gets push control, so that was a good idea. But ultimately, the one big, I would say, change that Snake had going into Game 3 is that their mid lane and bottom lane were just a nice pushing or at least trading pattern lane. Bottom lane was going to win just because they had the, on Guinsoo's Rage Blade, they were going to be able to take the fights, so they were able to have control in the lane. But mid lane, Guoguo was able to move around, and that's what we really wanted out of him.
Of course, though, it was the top lane that really started shining through with the likes of that Shen, able to teleport and save SOFM any chance he got.
Yes.
He's going to take our man of the match for that Game 3, the series win. And you might look at that and say, oh, 0, 1, and 3, that's really not that much to be shocked at. But Flandre was really everywhere. He kept that Cho'Gath from engaging elsewhere.
Exactly. And so if we look towards what Suning had, what was their win condition ultimately? Because there are around 4 win conditions in the game, which is split push, pick, team fight, and poke.